everybody. Welcome back to the panel. We're in the house and we are moving forward with our relationship topics. So everybody, thank you for being on the panel. All right, so my name is LaVon Kemp, and I am your host of the panel, Denver. We've been doing this for a while. And just real quick to give people some background on the panel, our panel is about increasing positive interactions between men and women of color. That can be anything from friendship, it could be relationships, it could be platonic, whatever. But it's not just love. It's just interactions between men and women of color. We are trying to fight the stereotype that we just can't get along, that we can't have successful relationships, that all we do is fight, yell, and scream and hit and holler at each other all the time, because that's what social media and that's what just in general media portrays black relationships to look like, even sometimes black friendships. So we're just trying to get the word out and have honest perspective from men of color. And also, of course, we have to have our wild woman on the end. She has to bring her knowledge too. And just let people know the real deal about like how we interact with each other and the love we have for each other and respect and, you know, all of that. So that's what the panel is about. You're gonna hear from some dope panelists. We got people who are married, not married, in between, who knows, complicated, whatever. And that's the beauty of it. Everybody's coming from a different perspective, and we'll get to hear some honest, genuine answers. The panel is not censored. Anything goes, anything can be said. So if you have a light spirit, don't watch it, because we're going to tell the truth, and we're going to say what we really feel about it, okay? Is that fair? People in the crowd, is that fair? Okay, they said it's fair. So I'm going to go ahead and give everyone a chance to meet our panelists. So I'm going to start to my left. You're just going to say your name, your relationship status, and then go ahead and like fill yourself. Tell us what you do, where you be, if you own a business, how they can get in contact with you. You can drop that phone number too if you want somebody to hit you up after this. That's cool.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Malcolm Miller, 27. I'm a transition specialist for a company called Rite of Passage, so I work with all the juvenile correctional facilities in the state of Colorado, and I help young boys get out, get back into the community, find jobs and things like that. Currently single, hail from the great city of Clarksville, Tennessee. I'm a spoken word artist. You can reach me at first name, last name, Malcolm Miller 1911 at yahoo.com. Instagram, Mr_Miller_time, and I'm also a member of the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
All right.
Yo to the noobs. Name is Dr. Ryan Ross. I am happily married with 2 children, been married for 10 years. It's been a fantastic experience. Professionally, I have the amazing opportunity to lead a nonprofit called the Urban Leadership Foundation of Colorado, where we focus on leadership development for emerging leaders of color. And I'm also the proud business owner of Stirred Up Enterprises, where I serve as an actualization expert, helping people go from good to great or bad to better, depending on their situation. Also, just want to quickly make you aware of an event that we have coming up September 26th. It's the Urban Leadership Foundation's first annual gala. It's going to be great. It's a gala and fashion show. It's something you don't want to miss. So you can find that on our website, www.ulfcolorado.org, and you can always hit me on any social media handle at @DocRyRoss. Peace.
How's it going? I'm Ian Andrew Booker from Queens, New York, 28 and currently 18 days into a happily going marriage. I'm in banking, work for a key bank in their treasury services department, and part of the Urban League on the board as treasurer.
Good evening. My name is Jasmine Elizabeth. I'm a social entrepreneur. I own a business entitled J. Eliza's Consulting. We do branding and we do virtual assistance for small businesses, entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry. I have an event coming up entitled Fathers and Daughters Occasion that takes place on October 21st. It's an opportunity for daughters and fathers to simply celebrate one another, so please join me for that. For more information, I can be reached at area code 413-363-3005. I am a product and current student of ULFC. Dr. Ryan Ross is one of my great mentors, and I'm happy to be a part of this opportunity. Oh, and I'm single.
You gotta say it again.
I'm single.
Okay, so we know who's single on here. Y'all take note. I'm just saying, we might as well be hooking people up too. It's about black positive interactions, right? Right. Maybe y'all should sit together. Booker, you come over here. Yeah, you come over here. Come on. Come sit down.
She's fine down there. You having your temptation.
There we go. Now we're in order. We're in order now. Okay. All right. So, my name is LaVon Kemp. Like I said, I'm the host. I am talking to someone, so I can't claim single no more. That's cool. So that's all about me. I work for Urban League of Metropolitan Denver, and I do various other things as well. You can hit me up on Facebook. It's just Avon with the L, so LaVon, and then Kemp, like Sean Kemp. I don't know if we're related. I wish we were, but I don't know. I used to tell people when I was younger we were because I didn't know no better. Anyway, so that's how you can get in touch with me. So now we're going to dive into the panel and how it works. So what happens is, ladies, you can kind of see, if you look at your tables, you're going to see these little cute orange slips, right? So anytime I have panels, or just in general, girls can either text me, email me, message me, or they'll write on these little slips questions that they would like to ask men, even questions they might have wanted to ask their man, but just didn't feel like, or maybe wanted an outside perspective before they did ask their man this question. And that's where the questions come from. And so every question I ever use on this panel is coming from a woman in regards to her wanting to know how a man, particularly a man of color, would feel about it. So it's really kind of an education thing and a get-to-know thing, and just basically a way to get some answers about some things without it becoming a fight or craziness or all that other stuff. Because for some reason, sometimes it becomes a struggle when you're trying to get some knowledge in certain areas. So I need a lady to come up and just pick one of these, because I always do it randomly so that there's no studying and trying to figure out how we're going to answer these questions. So can I get one lady? Thank you, Brittany. Yes, get it. Work that dress. This should be fun. Okay, so Brittany has picked, what is the worst thing a woman can do to a man of color? That's going to be good. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this right on over to my men folk, and we can elaborate on this, but I think it's a good question. Alicia's taping.
So, I think just in general, and I guess coming from a man who's been in a relationship for a while, especially newly married, one thing that a woman can do to really break down a man is really go for his weaknesses, right? Because the two of you are in a relationship, and she knows you the best. She knows where she can hurt you, but she also knows where your strengths are, right? So focusing on the weaknesses and really just breaking them down and not letting him be the man that he needs to be, as long as he's being the man that he should be.
Well, I think it's about confidence and belief. I think one of the worst things you can do to a black male is to not have faith in his ability to lead and or run his household, and not provide the space to do that. I think a lot of people think, even when you go to biblical terms, when someone says a man should be the head of his household, I think sometimes people take that a little too literally and fight back and say that you shouldn't submit, right? And there should be an understanding that it's a partnership, as long as that man is doing what he's supposed to be doing. And sometimes you've got to let that happen, right? So he can be the protector and do the things that as men we were robbed of for 400 years in slavery. So taking that away from a man, I think, is the worst thing you can do, and it will, I think, ultimately halt the progress of your family.
I think the worst thing that a woman could do to a black male, and this is more speaking from experience, is attacking his mental health. A lot of times, I know in the black community, we don't talk about mental health. Being a person with a bachelor's degree in psychology, we've covered mental health so much throughout my studying. To attack, somebody that's going through something mentally, and it's the same as attacking a weakness, but a weakness could be something physical. It could be something that they're lacking from a physical or a monetary standpoint, but to attack somebody mentally, that sticks around. That sticks around long after you're gone. So it's one of those things where if you attack your man mentally every single day, talking about, I think it was on Insecure when she said, I supported your depressed ass, when Issa said that to Lawrence. That sticks around for a minute. No, it sticks around for a minute. That sticks around. She said that. That sticks around for a minute. Long after you're gone, long after she's been gone, that stuck with him. That will stick with you for a while. So to attack a man's mental health is probably one of the worst things you could do, especially to a black male. You already deal with so much. Not to say that we deal with more than black women, because nobody deals with more than black women do, but it's just a point of, it's tough when you have to go home and think about that at night.
I don't really know if I can speak to this question. Well, I agree. I would have to say that I would think in past relationships, as I reflect, I think that was where I would fall. Being the strong, independent woman that I am, I'd be quick to be like, nigga, you ain't shit. Like, for real. Like without a problem. For real. Like, if it got to that point, if we were arguing and I needed to take it there to protect myself, like, you know how to attack a man's weakness, whether it's saying the wrong or the right things, like, you know how to give it to him. So I do agree that we do know that's a weapon that we can use against men very well. Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess the question is, so I heard basically attacking men's mentality or their mental state, degrading them or like preying on their weakness, and basically like just remembering this is a partnership. So don't be, going in this partnership trying to like take out your partner, because that's not the point of the partnership. And so even on a more practical level, like when you're female, or when as a female we're starting to do this, and I'm gonna give it back to you just for a second, because I want people to hear maybe like what the female might be thinking that caused her to do that as well, right? And then I want the men to comment on that, because a part of this also is like, well, what do you do when you're there, right? And it's already happened, and like, how do you fix that, and how do you bridge that gap? So I'm first gonna have you just talk about like why a female would go there, like what might be going on with her, and then I'm gonna have you men answer like how can someone fix that. Cool? Okay.
So yeah, I think, like I was saying, I think it's more of like a protection thing. Like when you want to either come back from a hurt, or you want to come back to kind of either guard yourself, you know how to, like, hurt people know how to hurt people. So I know what to say in the moment. I know how to get back at you. And if that's where I'm at, sometimes it's all gloves off. I'm gonna do what has to be said or done. And so I think once you're there, everybody processes different. So for me, it's like, give me space. Like, let me talk. Don't really take me serious in the moment, because I'm really just talking off the side of my mouth. I really don't mean what I'm saying, because if I meant it, you probably wouldn't really be with me. But I mean it in this moment in regards to what we're talking about. Seriously, like you. And so, like, just really understanding, like, an action and response, and just giving time to process and reflect back to where we are, I would say.
As far as fixing it, I know head ain't gonna fix it, so that's not gonna, ain't nothing that you get ready to do after the fact, as far as, cause it seems like, no, be for real though, be for real, because everybody think that a sexual act is gonna cure. It doesn't. Yeah, for the moment, but I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, damn, you said what you said about my mama and my sister. It might last for a moment, it might help me go to sleep, but it ain't gonna help. It's not gonna help fix the situation. I think the best way to fix that situation is to come back later and say, you know what, I overstepped my bounds. I know that I came a little too far. I know that that's your trigger. I know that that's something that is really personal for you, and I apologize for my portion of it. And is there anything that I can do to more show you instead of tell you, because we're all used to people telling us they're sorry when they're not really sorry. So what can I do to show you, to make it up to you, whether that's cooking for your man before he come home, if he's working, anything like that. Whatever, you should know what your man like by this point to be able to do something that's not sexual, to be able to bridge that gap back. But it all starts with taking accountability and saying that you were wrong on your side of it, and then making that move to bridge that gap.
Clap for him. Brother dropped some jewels there. For me, I think the way you solve that is you fix it before it happens, right? Think about when you go into a business transaction, right? When you think about money, right? Money's important to everybody. You got $1 million deal on the line, right? And when you go into that deal, you talk to your lawyer, you talk to your best friend, you talk to a mentor, you get your rules of engagement down, you get your contractual agreements together, right? So you can protect your money, right? Your emotions in your relationship should have the same value. So when you go into a relationship, you need to be able to set the expectations from the front. Yo, this is what I don't like. This isn't gonna work for me. When we're having these issues, this is not how you fight, right? We don't fight dirty, right? We don't do that. This is how, this is gonna be our rules, right? When you're mad at me, I'm mad at you. Two things. One, you're gonna agree to not go to sleep mad at each other, right? But the second thing is you're going to agree to be able to have conflict. Like, conflict is okay. Like, I think a lot of times in relationships, we forget that it's okay to argue and have conflict and have differences of opinion. And it's not about flexing your muscle in your relationship, right? It's about meeting your partner where they're at and understanding where they're coming from. You don't have to agree, right? Like, and then you also just you gotta know the situation. You know, like if, you know, men and women think differently, right? If we're on a car ride together and we going down the mountains and I'm like, man, we just driving, and he's like, I'm hungry. Cool, right? He's going, you know, but if he wants to eat, he's going to say, yo, stop at the next exit so I can get me some food, right? Or he may say, man, you hungry? I say, no, right? Keep rolling. Now, you ladies, in the same situation, what you're going to do is, hey, you hungry, babe? No. And then you drive, and then all of a sudden you feel that Superman red eye on your neck because it's hot. And you're scared to look over. You're like, well, you know, so then you don't even turn. You just keep driving like, I'm not even going to do this. And then 100 miles later, you're like, what's your problem? Well, I was hungry. Why didn't you say it? Why didn't you just say, I'm hungry, stop? You asked me if I was hungry, right? You can't expect that to happen, right? Say what you mean and mean what you say. Like, it's cool to do that. To say, this is what I want from you, husband, boyfriend, dude. This is what I need. And allow him to accommodate that, because 99.9% of the time, we want to accommodate it, but you can't expect anyone to be a mind reader, especially the person that you're supposed to be in relationship, in love with, right? That's supposed to be the easiest place to communicate.
Nice. Yeah, I think everything, a lot of it was covered, you know, and communication is going to be key in that. And so what I think a lot of times, if like before even getting to it, the reason why a lot of times it gets there is there may be a lot of underlying issues. That may not be the issue, like your mother, your sister type of thing. It might be just something else that's been lingering, that hasn't been closed. It's just been hanging around. And if you just let it keep going, it's just going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger. So you have to talk it out. And I like what you said of establishing what's liked, what's disliked, because if you don't know that and you continue on, you're going to be pressing some red buttons.
You're going to find yourself alone is what's going to happen. Yeah. Right?
So let's just say nobody should be talking about anybody's mamas, okay? Let me just say that. That's like high school playground stuff, middle school. Like, we are beyond the yo mama stuff, okay? So take note. But I just wanted to like comment because y'all said some really good stuff, because especially on like how to fix it and like what we should do, and like especially just trying not to have not for the relationship to even get there. Now let's just being realistic. You're gonna fight because it just. We're human. It happens. You're going to have arguments. You're going to have situations. But has anyone ever done, like, relationship contracts before in any of your relationships ever? Oh, yes. Okay. I was wondering if people had done that, because I heard about that, where, like, whether you're even dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever y'all's into, you know, situationships, whatever. But people have been telling me this thing about having, like, relationship contracts. So, Brittany... Can you tell us a little bit about like why you thought like having that was a good idea? Come on. I get to see you twice, girl. Come on. Stand here. Stand
well, I did it just going back to I'm a very logical oriented person. So I reason like I'm reasoning in the boardroom in a meeting. So if we're having problems, I'm great in the boardroom. So if I'm having problems, I have to treat it like I treat my job. So I need to establish rules of engagement. I need to establish if-thens and how to deal with these different situations. So I did it just, I think as a game, we both were that way, and we both were very Spock and logical in our minds, and it made our relationship easier when we did it. So.
Well, before you go, I have a question on that. So.
No, we now you gotta be in our business. He had an opportunity in Arkansas, and that's Arkansas, and I chose to move from Chicago to Denver, so we split for career opportunities. Yeah, still friends.
So in the contract, if something goes array and someone doesn't hold up to their partnership, are you pulling out the paper like Section 5, Article 12? You said. How does that work? Because you have a contract, right? So I'm curious on how that even.
So yes and no. If I'm going to be sarcastic, and my default is sarcasm. So I have pulled it out in the sense, or brought it up in the sense of, well, when we got together, remember that third paragraph, we had talked about this particular conflict, and it's happening right now. But I think in another line, we just treat it, my minor was in communication, so we go back to feedback loop. Just if then. Well, I said this, I assumed you understood this, so the resolution should be this, but we're having this conflict. We need to work out why. So again, I think I solved it like I would solve a situation at work. So not necessarily that I brought it up, but like, okay, we're moving off topic. How do we bring it back? So yeah. Is that good?
You good?
Thank you, Brittany. I think that's awesome. Will you help her off? So just wrapping up, I just think I love the answer. I love what we heard because, one, you heard like some very real ways like to not hurt men, particularly men of color. And as women, we have to be careful how we do interact with our men. We have to be mindful that they're not just these big, strong beasts that we could just beat up on and they're just going to be okay with it. They have feelings, they have hearts, they have insecurities just like everybody else, and they're not typically the representation you see on TV, right? Where these men are just taking it from these women, And so I just think that it's good to be mindful of what they said and to listen to their answers. And a lot of it had to do with attacking weakness and preying on what they're not great at, right? Because as women, we don't want them pointing out what we're not great at either, right? So we're supposed to kind of work together and balance each other out. When there's legit issues, yeah, you're going to have to talk about it, but you shouldn't go after them like the way you'd go after an enemy. And I think sometimes that can happen is your love partner becomes the enemy. So in wrapping up, I just wanted to see if you guys had any final thoughts on that, any other things that you wanted to put out there, because this is your time to let these ladies know, especially in the area of things not to do or say towards their men of color, because this is a big issue. And then we will go ahead and wrap it up. Any last thoughts?
Don't bring up old stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the argument. If we arguing, if we arguing about something that happened today, I don't need to be. We already talked about what happened in June. We already talked about what happened in January of 2016. It's done. Don't bring it up. You shouldn't have to hear about something. I know you guys. Hey, if you've been in a position where you've changed the person that you are in your life, and you went from having one image to another, you hate when people bring up something old about you. That's real big for me. When I was growing up, I was a kid that was in the streets doing all kind of stuff. Now I went out, got a college degree, and I hate coming back home and hearing about how I used to get into all this stuff, because that's not me anymore. It's the same thing in a relationship. You don't want to hear if you've made a mistake, if you forgot to bring her flowers on Tuesday just because it was Tuesday, if you forgot that you were supposed to take the chicken out the freezer or whatever the case may be, you shouldn't have to hear about it in a coming argument. That means that on both sides, you haven't taken care of the previous argument. And that creates more in those underlying issues that he was talking about. A lot of times when you don't really sit down and take the time out to go through the issues and really resolve issues, not just say, okay, I'm done talking, they keep coming back up. But the main thing is leave that old stuff in the past, especially if he's proven that it's a past mistake and he's already corrected it.
So I think 3 quick things, right? So the first thing is just ask yourself, is it worth it, right? Like, think about the amount of energy and what it does to you internally to be stressed or to be angry. So is leaving the chicken or not taking the chicken out, is it worth the argument? If it's not, don't do it. Like, it's cool. Just say, hey, man, you left the chicken out. Now you're going to eat late. He's going to learn. Oh, man, I'm going to remember that in the morning because I wasn't trying to lose weight. Can't eat after 8 and I have to eat at 10, right? Like, cause and effect. Let that lead you, right? Is it worth it? The second thing is there's no winner in a relationship, right? Like, it's not a competition, right? It's not. There are simple scenarios that you've got to work through, right? And if you treat your spouse like you treat your best homeboy or your best homegirl, probably be a whole lot different. You got friends you've been friends with for 20, 30 years, and you know all the weird stuff that they do that gets on your nerves, but you're able to talk about it, call them out on it, or you've created a workaround so it doesn't even make you mad anymore, right? Put that same investment in your relationship. And the last thing is SFG, right? Safety, freedom, growth, right? When you're in the middle of a conflict, ask yourself, does this affect my safety? If it doesn't, maybe you shouldn't argue about it. Does this affect my freedom? If it doesn't, maybe you shouldn't argue about it, right? Does it affect your growth? If it doesn't, maybe you shouldn't argue about it, right? And default to a conversation. It's actually pretty cool and pretty normal to have a disagreement with your tone like this, right? That will, I think, help you lead to a long, healthy relationship, right? And throw out your insecurities. You know what I mean? If you got a fly dude or a fly girl, right? Whoever you dating right now, you're a very attractive lady. You're up here with 3 dudes at a show. I don't even know if he's in here, right? He can't be at home wondering if what's going to happen after this panel. Like, you can't be insecure. And so to the fellas watching, quit being insecure. Some men run their house, some men run around their house, right? And when you're running around your house, that's that insecurity leaving your mind. So get your mind right, brothers. And ladies, love your men.
I definitely like what you said about investment in relationships, because I know a lot of times people in a relationship, they can treat their best friend better than they can treat their own significant other, right? It's easy to lash out at our significant other, right? Because it's just we're comfortable around them. But understanding the investment you're making in your relationship, this is the person who you've agreed to be with, and if you made that commitment, for better or for worse, right? And to understand that if you have in your mind that the end result is no matter what, we're going to make it through it, then, like you said, there's a win on both sides.
Aw, that just touched my heart. All this. This is why I love this panel. I just want to thank you guys and our WOW women. I call them WOW women. That's Women of Worth. Thank you so much for being on the panel. And then did you have a comment? Oh, yes, here. Pass it on down.
So I don't think our black men hear this enough, but I do want you to know that we as black women, we love you, we value you, we need you, and there are women who are willing to work with you. We're not all bitter, we're not all broken, we're not all damaged. So please, seriously, so just as much as we want you to as much as you guys want to understand us, we want to understand you. So I definitely appreciate you for starting this conversation to get the community going and on one page, because this is so necessary. So that's it.
Well, I think they just about said it, y'all. Thank you so much for being on this panel. I will get the website information out to you guys as soon as possible, and then you can see all the videos. We do this every other Monday. So for now, I'm about to turn the music back on. Go up and get some drinks. Shout out to the owner, Ty. We're here at the Living Room on Broadway every other Monday. He lets us use this venue, but we got to keep drinking, though, so get to drinking. Thank you, guys. Bye.